What's this about playoffs? What's going on, everybody? It's Josh, the coach of the Goldenrod City Goomys, back for, I guess, playoffs. We might have missed a week of regular season, but life is hectic, and I just missed week 5, so that's my bad. Sorry, we won. We finished the season as the number 1 ranked seed going into the playoffs, and we play our round 1 matchup against the Ventura Venusaurs, coached by Boca. We're able to get a great victory in the play-in games to make their way into round 1 against us. So my faithful servant Goomy and me are on our way to a hopeful season 6 playoff victory and eventually maybe a championship. But we got to start with game number 1. So let's dive in to the team builder and talk about what we're bringing for our first round of playoffs, again against Ventura. So some familiar faces for sure on the roster, but a couple of people, I would say a couple that have not seen a lot of playing time this season. Speaking of Growlithe, Roy Mustang is back off the bench, came in week 1, died spectacularly, and now is back on the starting lineup as our defensive boy. Actually, Growlithe matches up pretty well against Boca's team. The typing is not super weak for once. I played in a division, the Johto division, having a ton of really, really tough ground type matchups every single week. So Roy Mustang, our little Growlithe, did not get as much playing time as I thought. Was definitely an underperformer of the draft league, but now he's back, and actually I feel like is pretty good in this matchup. We're being the defensive set, so Will-O-Wisp, Intimidate. We've got the Morning Sun for some recovery. Protect is there, which is great, and we have Flamethrower for our 1 offensive move. But max HP in defense, and the Eviolite Mon for this week, which is pretty cool. So hopefully he's our defensive boy, and we can lean into that. On the special side, a Goop Grimer, also one of our tier 1s that we haven't used a ton this season, but coming back as the special wall for this week, just overall super bulky. With that Assault Vest, I take no special damage, and it's gonna be fairly awesome to use it this week. We're running the Careful Nature just to kind of give us a leg up in some speed matchups, sacrificing some stats that we normally wouldn't, but that's what we're at. I speed tie with some of the slower stuff on his team, so I want to make sure that if I have that 4 points in speed, that I'm for sure faster than like something that's tied with me in his speed tiers. Moveset, Shadow Punch for the Bronzor. Bronzor is tough. It is definitely something that I need to work to beat around. And Shadow Punch is really the one move that I can use that will actually do any damage to it. Poison Jab is there for Snubble and a couple of his other mons. Ice Punch just hits hard in some good key coverage moves. And then Giga Drain's there for some recovery. It also hits the Spheal really well. So hopefully be able to gain back some health in that matchup. Moving into Rhyhorn, some natural bulk on the team this week, with Rhyhorn being an offensive threat. Having that huge HP stat, really, really good natural defense. But we dumped all of our EVs in attack this week as one of our primary physical threats. Adamant Nature with leftovers to help with some long-term longevity. Earthquake, Fire Fang for some really good coverage moves and something that I can hit Bronzor with. Stone Edge and Superpower, also just good moves. We get the stab boost on Stone Edge. Alexi hits most of his team really, really hard. And is going to be one of the primary offensive threats this week. Just as it kind of like, hey, switch it in, it gets a kill. And kind of helping with the bulk aspect, you're not going to see Natu surviving many hits, but with a light clay and reflect, that might change some things. We are rocking 40 HP as well to help survive some things, just because I didn't need to max out the speed tier. Having that extra 40 HP helps in some scenarios. And we're going Timid Nature, max special attack. Like I said, we've got the light clay for setup reflex. We're going to try and run a kind of utility Natu this week. Shadow Ball obviously is our one attacking move. It's going to do any sort of damage, definitely against the Bronzor. It's the only move that's going to matter. And actually, I should wall Bronzor pretty hard with this Natu set, depending on what he's running. Shadow Ball super effective, and eventually I will get a special defense drop, and we will whittle it down. I've got Wish and U-Turn to help with pivot stuff, and Reflect's just a really good move to help kind of give the rest of my team some natural bulk. And then coming into Jack Black, the mainstay of the team. I think I brought it every week, or just about every week. A very similar set to what you've seen before: max HP and attack, adamant nature, drain punch, knockoff there every week. Ice Punch is a good coverage move for Swablu, for some of the other things on his team. And then Protect is just there as kind of... honestly, I had 3 move syndrome, or I had 3 move slot syndrome, where I really didn't need much more. So I figured might as well throw Protect on there, help with scouting. Maybe it gives me an edge in an unfavorable matchup to where I lock something into a Scarf or something like that. So that's the Jack Black this week. And then finally, again, another Mon we didn't use a ton this season, but I really, really like the set that we have this week, is Chompers the Axew, running the Adrenaline Orb. Boca has 2 Intimidate users, and I expect at least one of them to be on the team, so we're going to try and lean into that with the Adrenaline Orb. After 1 speed boost, I should be faster than most, if not all, of his team. And after 2 speed boosts or a Dragon Dance plus an Orb pop off, I'm going to be faster than everything, no matter what, on his team. And we'll be in a really, really good situation to just fire off really big attacks. Also to note, after 1 Dragon Dance, my attack stat is enough to start killing things in 1 hit, which is super exciting. We've got Scale Shot to help increase speed. Again, I have 2 moves this week on the Axew that help increase speed. It's also our Dragon Stab move. Poison Jab is there for the Snubble, and then Crunch is just kind of a good all-around move, also to help with the Bronzor. So Axew could be a really fun setup and kill move Pokemon this week, but we'll see. It's going to be kind of a sneaky, maybe not expected play. So let's move into the keys to the game then. So for this week, again, we've got 3. That's kind of what we roll with. Number 1, Growlithe good. It's been a while since we've been able to say that. And I think this is a week finally where the Intimidate plus the Eviolite give Growlithe enough bulk and enough defense to actually be a workable threat. We've got Will-O-Wisp to help burn stuff. We've got the Morning Sun to recover. And I think this is finally a week where a lot of Boca's physical threats get walled by the Growlithe, and we're going to be able to actually use it pretty effectively. Tip number 2 is not to roll bulk. So there's a couple of things that play into this one. Obviously, Natu having Reflect is going to give the whole team some bulk, but also having Rhyhorn and Grimer and Pancham all with really good HP and defensive stats. We're going to be able to just kind of sit out there and take hits and not die in 1 hit, which is going to be really key to be able to wear down Boca's team. And be able to just kind of survive and win in the end, right? So kind of leaning into that natural bulk factor that I think is super important in this format. And then finally, tip number 3 is beware the Bronzor. I tunneled super hard on this thing. It's one of his best Pokemon, so it's definitely warranted, but it's a defensive Pokemon that, if in the right circumstance, can set up screens, send out a Toxic, and then just live forever, and we just can never kill it. So I wanted to make sure that I had lots of answers to be able to kill it, and I didn't get into a situation, especially in the late game, where I lose the game overall because I can't 1v1 a Bronzor. So we have a lot of answers for it built into the team, and I'm not scared, but it's definitely something that we threw a lot of prep into, and we want to make sure that we execute on the game plan. So with that being said, let's get into the game. Like we said, we've got Growlithe, Grimer, Axew, Pancham, Natu, and Rhyhorn, and Boca is bringing Spheal, Bronzor, Snubbull, Charmander, Zigzagoon G, and Krogunk. So a really scary team from him. He's got the Bronzor, which we thought would happen. He's got one Intimidate user in Snubbull, which we planned for. The Spheal is a little bit of a surprising thing that I didn't necessarily think he would bring, but I'm not too scared of it. It's kind of been specially defensive. It's kind of been specially defensive in the past, and run like Surf, Ice Beam, Sleep, and Rest Talk. So like every time he's brought it, that's been the set. So I think we'll be okay. The Charmander is a big question mark. Charmander and Little Cup can do a lot of weird stuff. It's probably going to be a mixed attacker, or like looking at his lineup, maybe it's a special attacker. The Zigzagoon G, I have no idea what it's going to do. Probably some parting shot, kind of like just harassment type stuff. And then the Krogunk could also be a pretty scary mixed attacker on the right situation. So I feel good, and I just want to lead off the game. Just going for it, right? So I'm thinking, you know what? Rhyhorn's got a pretty decent matchup against everything. Let's throw it out there as a lead and just click Earthquake and see what happens. He happens to lead Charmander, so this is perfect. Earthquake will destroy the Charmander. I do think that the Bronzor probably has Levitate. But you know what? If he wants to send out Bronzor, I'm fine. Just, taking a turn off and getting that free Earthquake to miss. And then we'll kind of adjust from there. He actually goes out into Spheal. The Earthquake connects and does a bunch of damage. So I am really happy with the first turn of the game and how this all played out. Now, I do not want to stay in. The Spheal definitely could be faster than me. In the past, he hasn't put any investment into speed, but it doesn't take much to outspeed Rhyhorn, and some of the showdown calcs would indicate that this thing probably will go first. So I don't want to stay in. It's an easy switch for me to go out into our special wall Grimer, and we eat a Surf really, really well, and now we can just Giga Drain and kill it, right? So pretty straightforward play. He makes a good switch into Bronzor. The Giga Drain does absolutely nothing to this thing. And we're in a spot where, I definitely don't want to stay in, because this is like nothing's going to happen, right? Like eventually I might be able to do enough damage with Shadow Ball or Shadow Punch, and like the Bronzor probably can't do much to me. But in the past games, he's run hazards, and I think that this is like a really good opportunity for him to just like try and set up Stealth Rocks. So I actually swap into our Natu, Esmeralda, with a Magic Bounce, read the Stealth Rocks, and get him bounce back, which is a great play. Then we go for some screens. I've got my Reflect up. I'm firing off Shadow Balls. He makes a good switch after getting both screens up into the Zigzagoon. And now it's in a spot where, Zigzagoon doesn't take any damage from the Ghost type move. So, great switch from his part. I'm playing extremely predictable in some circumstances. And in others, I feel like I'm making really good moves, especially with like the Magic Bounce play. I know I'm going to be faster, so I'm just going to fire off a U-turn, get initiative back, go back into my Growlithe, get the attack drop off with the Intimidate, and then he goes for knockoff, which is important. My Eviolite is now gone, but look at how much damage that did, you guys. Like, bulky Growlithe with the Intimidate, with the Reflect, with my natural bulk, with the Eviolite, 6%. And I know Growlithe, your Zigzagoon doesn't have a ton of attack stat, but that feels real good. We do get the Will-O-Wisp off to burn it and hamper it even further, and he parting shots, which is important. The parting shot, lowering our attack stats, is important because the Beach Ball comes out, and I'm looking at Sfeel here, and this is definitely like a big misplay on my part, right? A fairly large misplay. I did not calc this. I did not see what the roll was. And I'm thinking, okay, he's at 16%, and I could fire off a flamethrower, and this will probably do 16%, right? It's gotta. Well, the light screen goes down. So, important part here. I just have the one attack stat drop. I went for the flamethrower because the light screen was coming down. Had it stayed up, I probably would have switched into Grimer, which is what I should have done in the first place. But with Thick Fat and the fact that my attack stat is lowered with Parting Shot, the flamethrower does 15%. And the Beach Ball lives on 1% HP. And I'll just play the next turn and show you how sad I became. Play the sad music. Our Roy Mustang, our key to the game, is down. Which sucks. I mean, in hindsight, it wasn't that big of a deal in the overall scope of the game. I never felt like I needed Growlithe again. But it does suck that we missed by 1% on kind of playing this out extremely well. Thick Fat and the attack drop were the difference. So, the Sfeel gets a kill, which is great. I can come into Axew and just fire off a Scale Shot, get my speed to go up. My defense will go down, but I do have a Reflect for one more turn. And he sends out Snubble. So, the Intimidate happens. And my Adrenaline Orb pops. So, there's a lot of stuff going on, but ultimately, my increased speed doesn't really matter. A Poison Jab does not quite 50%, and it would take 3 of them to kill this Snubble, most likely, and I will die to 2 Play Roughs. I don't win that 1v1 at that point. I thought about for a hard second about clicking Dragon Dance and going to get my attack back up to neutral. I still wouldn't have done enough damage to the Snubble to kill it if I did the calc right. I did calc for Eviolite, which the Bronzor has, but it might have worked, it might have not, but I wasn't willing to take that roll. So I just switched into Grimer. It's a bulky defensive mon. I figured, okay, this is a chance for me to either click Poison Jab and do a bunch of damage from Grimer, or to, click Giga Drain and start getting some health back. He uses Play Rough, again, natural bulk helping out a lot, and then the Natu Reflect still being up for one more turn limits the damage there. And then he makes another really good swap into Bronzor on my Poison Jab. So, good switches, good reads from Boca. I'm playing right into what he wants to do. He has initiative for sure, but I'm not sweating it. Shadow Punch does pitiful damage. Like 23% is so little, considering that it's straight up. There's no extra screens. There's no extra help. It's sad how little that damage does. On the opposite side, his Psychic only did 27. The Assault Vest helped. But Bronzor also does not have the biggest attack stats, in the world. So I feel like it's time to get out. The Psychic comes in on the Natu, does, good damage, and I'm able to get a Wish off. He's going to pull up another Light Screen. I didn't want him to do anything for free. So I figured, you know what, let's just click Shadow Ball. Let's soak up this Wish again, and then we can U-turn or Shadow Ball again or get a Reflect Up. I didn't feel the need to switch out, especially when he could just throw Stealth Rocks out or something, right? I didn't want him to get that chance. I wanted to still be able to bounce that if I needed to. He makes another really good switch, and brings the Zigzagoon in for free. It's burned though, and also if you remember earlier in the game, U-turn did some good damage to this thing with a Reflect Up. So I just decided to go for U-turn again, and we actually get a kill. So we're feeling good. We've got initiative. I get a free switch into Pancham, and can really like click knockoff or drain punch on anything, and I feel pretty good about it. The Bronzor does come in. I'm going to be faster. Knockoff is going to kill. Eviolite's down. And now it's 3-5, and we're feeling pretty good. Snubble again comes in with the Intimidate. I really don't want to stay in, but I want to scout and see what he's going to do. So we protect against the Thunderwave, and that gives me a really good switch. Okay, if it's running Thunderwave, it's probably not fully offensive. So let's just switch into Rhyhorn. If he tries to Thunderwave again, doesn't work. And if he tries to like attack me, like again, natural bulk, I should live no problem and be able to fire off a hit of my own. Turns out the Snubble was scarfed. I did not know that during the game, but I found out afterwards watching the Pokepaste. So he had to switch there. Goes on into Krogunk, and unfortunately the featherless biped is going to die from an Earthquake. Rhyhorn really showing its offensive power here. We do get intimidated. I figured let's switch out. And he gets a Play Rough crit. Now, I have no idea if this was going to matter. It might not have, to be honest with you. Natu's not super bulky. We did have a little bit of HP investment, but we didn't have a Reflect Up. And Snubble's got some decent attack. I didn't calc this. I don't know if the crit mattered, but it does kind of suck a little bit. But we go down, we're able to bring in Rhyhorn. The Play Rough does less than half, so we're feeling good. Earthquake is killing no problem. And I feel like I'm in a really good spot to be able to just click Earthquake one more time and kill this Charmander and win. Maybe we get a 4-0 going into the playoffs round 2. Again, also, another crit. Again, I don't know if it mattered. In the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter. But it's just kind of funny that we got crit twice for kills when I think we might have lived otherwise. I don't know. The Natu one I'm less confident on. The Rhyhorn one, I think I would have lived that, right? I'll maybe calc it afterwards, but Rhyhorn goes down, Charmander's attack stat gets lowered, we go into Axew, and I'm kind of free to take the overheat, and then we just scale shot our way to a win. So again, in the grand scheme of things, the crits didn't matter. We get a really good 3-0 win against a really good team in Boca. And we're on to the next round of playoffs. So a really good showing here for the Goldenrod City Goomys in round 1. GG's to Boca, heck of a season for him. It was super fun to play against him, to watch him play throughout. To watch him play throughout the season. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does in Season 7 when we come back after the short break. So what does this mean for Goldenrod City? Well, we are going to playoffs round 2. And we actually get to play Val now. My hair is all sorts over the place. That's going to get clipped. Metaphorically and figuratively. So we get to play the Bone Me Bondslies in round 2. Val has had a really good season in her first kind of real season into the league. She's played really well in some games, and I think having Noah help her prep is definitely something I need to realize that's going to happen. And that the team that I'm going to face is going to be well put together, and that she has some really good potential, and she's been showing, that she's for real. She had a really good win in round 1, and I'm excited to play that game in round 2 in about a week. So looking forward to that. If I pull up the rest of the playoff bracket, let me see here. Let me just do this here real quick and see if I can go to, if I go to the team builder screen. Yes. Okay, here we go. So if I, bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, goodness. Okay, Ventura beat Midwestern, and ankle-biting Aarons beat Sunnyside in round 1. Great showing there from all teams involved. We are at the start of round 2 coming up very, very soon. So we have advanced with our 3-0 victory over Ventura. We played the Bone Me Bonsleys. Like I said, we're waiting to see who wins in the Kalamazoo and CEM game, as well as the Depressed Dunsparce and Cucci-Pucciene game. That will be the other half of the top side of the bracket. On the bottom side, Noah and Peyton get to play against each other, which is probably the game of the round, honestly. And could, like, those two teams could, like, that could be a championship game if the brackets were turned around a little bit differently. Unfortunate that those two teams have to play each other in the second round here. And then, Hoop gets his win. Bumbling Badoofs are waiting to see who they play between Edmonton and the Lottie Daddies. So if I'm going to be a predictor or kind of think and see what's going to happen, my guess is that we're going to play Bone Me Bonsleys. Kalamazoo is going to end up playing... man, I think I picked Cucci-Pucciene to be an upset there. Whirl Island obviously gets to play Jamestown, and then Bumbling Badoofs is probably going to play... I think I picked Edmonton in that game in my bracket pick. So super, super good quarterfinal games. Really looking forward to that. Some sneaky predictions moving forward. I think I'm going to bet on myself, obviously. So I think I will win, and then I'll end up playing Garrett probably in the semifinal game, which should be terrifying. I think Noah will be able to beat Peyton and probably play Sean. I think Edmonton's going to make a run here, which I think is what I put in my bracket prediction, to where it's me, Garrett, Noah, and Sean in the semifinals, and then I would really love to play Noah in the championship game. So that's some very loose predictions based on what's going on here so far, but definitely been a fun first round and a half of playoffs. A lot of games to go, and I think we're in a really good spot. Take it one game at a time, one round at a time, do our prep like normal, rely on the things that have gotten us this far, and hopefully we get a chance to get back to the championship and hopefully put up banner number 2. So thanks for watching. I'm going to stop this before we get to a half an hour, but thanks for all your support this season, and go Goomies.